Ladies and gentlemen, today I'll be covering three topics. Number one is something that is worrisome. Number two is something that is worth celebrating about. Number three is something, a strong warning to many people that if you touch it, you could get devastated. And today, I also like to announce that I most likely do a live stream tonight. So hit subscribe and let's go on. So my usual disclaimer, this is not financial advice, not telling you buy or sell, just for education and entertainment, and let's go. So first thing is the worrisome news. Number one is more than one third of the businesses in Singapore are hurting already from the tariff pain. And 9 in 10 expects the ripple effect soon. So this is a Singapore Business Federation poll. So three-quarters of companies are staring at a revenue slide 6 to 12 months. And I think this is very concerning because we've always been assuming that this thing will hit us, but we just don't know to the extent. Now we have actually got some pulse that's right from the horse's mouth, and these are already facts on the ground. Over one third of businesses in Singapore are already hurting from the global trade war, with almost 90% expecting to feel its fallout within the next 6 months. According to SBF's survey of MNCs, SMEs, and large enterprise, three-quarters of businesses are staring at a revenue slide over the next 6 to 12 months. So this will also have impact over the company's wage, hiring, and investment plan, which we'll cover shortly. So in terms of hiring and wages, three-quarters of businesses do not plan to reduce wage over the next 3 months, but half of them do not intend to hire in the same period. And with SMEs more cautious than MNCs. Now, I need to say this. I've got young people coming to me and say that, Mr. Lu, I can't find a job, all right, or I can't find an internship. It's really very difficult to get myself hired. Well, I think that, initially I thought that it's just because these young people are picky, but no, okay? The markets for hiring is really very bad now. So my suggestion to young people who are coming out of the market right now is just take anything that comes along, okay? Usually I would not advise this. I will advise people to try to pick a work of your passion. But these are not usual times, so quickly grab something before it's gone, right? When the market turns better, you can always change to a different market. So while some of these businesses plan to pass the higher costs that are caused by the tariff, other plans to absorb it to help to manage customer demand, because customer demand is really coming down. You no choice but to eat the tariffs. Another top measure to mitigate tariff fallout was to set up intra-ASEAN business so that you not need to be impacted by the US tariffs. So the top concerns, apart from price adjustment because of the tariffs, is number one, currency fluctuations. Now, for business people like myself, we are very afraid of currency uncertainty. Right now, when we buy things, we've suddenly found that the Sing dollar has weakened versus the euro. Okay, and this is a point of concern. So against the US dollar has gone down, euro dollar has gone up. I don't know with respect to all the other currency. So all these kind of fluctuation cost us some angst because planning is difficult to make. Because when we commit the price to customer, usually we take some exchange risk. Or when we commit a price to the supplier, usually we take some risk. And a lot of people say, why don't we hedge the currency? Hedging has cost. Most SMEs don't do that. Many other implications because of all this uncertainty and volatility. And I think the top concern that most people have is currency fluctuations. A quick word on Singapore inflation. Apart from US inflation, we monitor very closely. Singapore inflation has risen slightly, okay? And the average expected inflation was 0.5% in April, but it has gone up to 0.7%. But I think it's not a big issue. Despite the April's core inflation rise, MAS and MTI left their forecast for the core and overall inflation to average about 0.5% to 1.5% in 2025. That's very mild, right? Gone were the days where inflation was an issue in Singapore. In short, inflation problem is over. Yes, prices has elevated, but it's not rising anymore. So there's a difference between inflation and prices high. It's a two different thing, okay? Two different thing. So inflation problem is over, and now the risks are now tilted towards the downside given the heightened uncertainty in the external environment. So although the trade conflicts are inflationary for some economies, especially USA, their impact on Singapore import prices are likely to be more offset by the deflationary drag exerted by weaker global demand. Oil prices have gone down below $60, and so is many other things. So in most trade war, there is a uncertainty of inflation or uncertainty of weaker demand. Usually the short-term impact is a small rise in prices, and the long-term impact is a recessionary pressure. So this time around, MAS and MTI basically call that most likely we will gonna a slowdown rather than an inflationary impact. Global crude oil prices are projected to be lower. Food prices should remain contained, and there is weaker demand that are caused by the US tariff, and this would bring down substantial pressure on global commodity prices and thus Singapore import prices. Now, in a related theme, now job posting in Singapore has gone down by 17% year on year. So this is a result from the hiring platform called Indeed. I don't know how many of you use Indeed, but Indeed has been around for 10 over years. And basically, number of listings that have gone up and has reduced by 17%, which basically means that hiring has gone down significantly. Yes, there are shortages in sectors such as education, healthcare, or finance. And these are areas that are potential growth. I need to say again, even in a recession, there will be sectors that grow and sectors that come down, okay? And then overall, the market is more reflectively down, and I understand. In the job market, it's the same thing. Some sectors will grow, some sectors will go down, and then, you just make sure that you put yourself at the right place. So this is where there is a softening in the job market, and young people who are now looking for jobs, please don't be picky. So in a funny turn of event, even though we have softening the market, softening of job hiring, blah, 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 the HDB resale price continue to break record high after high after high. So today I saw this newly MOP 3-room flat sold for 730,000, and there's a Queenstown one 3-room flat sold for 935,000. My goodness, okay, 3-room flat, not a 4-room flat or 5-room flat, 3-room flat. So I always joke that my Malaysian house is so big, so nice. It's a semi-detached house, 4,000 square feet. I live wonderfully here. The amount of money that I paid for this house, including furniture, including renovation, including everything I can think of, is not any number close to this number. Not even close, man. So what can afford a 3-room HDB cannot afford. Sorry, the other way around. What can afford a semi-D in a prime area in JB cannot afford me a 3-room HDB flat in Singapore. So what an irony, right? Now, in the midst of all this, I also checked my HDB resale prices that have been concluded recently. The last I update was somewhere around January. There was a unit sold for $1.168 million. It's a masonette around my house area. Now, a single-story apartment has just broke record of $1.19 million. And usually there's a significant price gap between the single-story executive apartment and the double-story masonette. So the market is still breaking new highs, C already happy, but this is KKK asset, right? So if you all don't know what's KKK asset, you can ask me. So this is just paper wealth. C really look good, sell already stay where? Unless I come and stay in Malaysia, right? There is an interesting turn of event that was just announced yesterday, is that we now have a new Minister for National Development, which is a new housing, Mr. Chee Hong Tat. And Desmond Lee will now move to become the Minister for Education. We wish him well. And into this new role is Minister Chee Hong Tat. This is a Ministry of of big impact and hot potato, right? Not that Ministry of Transport, where he formerly wasn't, but housing is a big issue, touches everybody. And I wonder what his new policy would be, right? So I think that most officials in any setting globally or in Singapore, when they come in, they like to implement new things, new thinking, whatsoever. I don't know whether you have measures that moderate prices upwards or moderate prices downwards, right? So let's watch and see this space very closely, and you guys can guess what the impact would be. So this is not conclusion yet because I got a very important topic to tell you guys, but some reflections on what I said. Number one is that economic impact has hit Singapore business already. So let's all get ready, brace for impact. Job market is softened. There is a deflationary or disinflationary risk right now that's happening. So we ought to be concerned. HDB resale market, wonderfully resilient. I'm not too sure whether this will come to an end. And now that we have got a new minister, maybe something will happen. I don't know. Let's watch his space. I'll keep you updated very closely. So remember, hit subscribe. So I've always refrained myself from commenting on crypto, but today I think it's important for me to make some comments on crypto because some things have happened to people around me, and I think it's very important for me to address this. The number one thing I want to say is I cannot find an understanding of crypto value. It doesn't mean it don't have, it's just that I cannot find it, okay? I've got people that explain to me for hours, explaining to me the value of it. I cannot understand it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who dabble with it. Whether they understand it or not is questionable because most people you ask always say they understand, okay? So at least I know I don't know, I keep out of it. Things I don't understand, I stay far away, okay? Now, this is an area where I see many, many lives are devastated, and I want to comment about it. So number one is Bitcoin has hit new high. Now, some of you say, I should have bought it at 60,000. I should have bought it at 20,000 whatsoever. I should have 8,000. Well, I think there are a lot of regrets around this area. I was heavily pushed by close, friends and reliable, experts that tell me to buy Bitcoin when it was $20,000, when it was $8,000. I just tell them, I don't understand. I keep out of it. Today it goes to $112,000. I got no issue keeping up with it. Tomorrow it goes to 1 million, so be it, right? No regret at all. Why? Okay. And I'll explain why in a short while. But this is the Bitcoin direction. It's gone up, down, up, down, 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 up, 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 and now it's hitting a new high. Okay. I don't have a strategy wrapped around Bitcoin, and I realize that most people don't have. Will it go to 500,000? Will it go to 1 million? Go to 10 billion, 1 billion? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. And what is the underlying way to value this thing? Nobody knows. It's like in the case of, let's say, an antique, okay? Right? Let's say a Ming Dynasty vase. I can at least appreciate a vase, right? Appreciate a vase. Touch already, you feel something. Bitcoin, I cannot even see it, right? Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I can't even see it. So it's very difficult for me to understand it. But hear me before you all switched off. I've seen so many lives devastated by it, even though they go up and up and up and up. Funny, right? People that are heavily involved in Bitcoin get burned so badly recently. How can it be? Well, I just want to share with you this story. Number one is a lot of the Bitcoins player don't just play Bitcoins. They invest in other things as well. So Bitcoin goes up, right? But the entire crypto world is not just Bitcoin. You have got Ethereum, it's go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then you've got Dogecoin and many other instruments go up, down, down, down. And this is more like down and things like that. There's a lot more instrument, like, I don't know, like just beyond my scope of knowledge. And there's just so many people in this field. When they say they're crypto investors, they're actually speculators and traders. For us, S&P 500 investors, NASDAQ investors, there are very few as well. Very few people buy a stock like me and hold it for till eternity, right? Till a long time. Very few. If you are one of those people who can invest in in Bitcoin since it was 20,000, 10,000, 1,000, $1, whatever the number is, and you hold until now, and you know that there is a reason why you will go up forever, and you just hold and ignore the fluctuation, that's fine. But if you apply the same thing to other instruments, it doesn't work. Other crypto instrument doesn't work. It's only Bitcoin. And most of the investors that I know of are traders and speculators. They trade a lot and speculate a lot. And because of the huge volatility, many Bitcoin investors get killed, right? The investment asset can go up, but you can get killed because there is no underlying strategy behind that is reliable. So I've seen it again and again, and many lives just got burned. They come to me, ask me, Mr. Lu, what can I do, right? I just got burned badly by Bitcoin. I say, how can that be possible? Yes, it's possible, right? They got burned because they were trading and speculating up and down. So I need to say this, a huge position of warning, okay, that gambling can get you killed. And most people who gamble thinks that they have an advantage over it. I don't understand this. And even if I understand this enough to appreciation, understanding of the volatility, I keep out of it, right? So if you know someone or yourself heavily involved in this, I will just say this. I don't think you can tell a person who is addicted to smoking to not smoke. The only thing you can tell them is make sure you cut down your smoking. Make sure you don't touch too much of your asset into this. 5%, 10%, that's it. This far, no further. And even that, they still will not listen to you, right? These group of people that are touching to this are usually very arrogant, very stubborn, okay? And they refuse to admit that this is an asset that is highly dangerous and volatile. And people who are in this thing will always say the rest of people are idiots. I've seen so many lives ruined by this. They come and ask me for help. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. They're gone, right? So warning to everybody, the asset may go up, you may not go up. You may get burned. So anyway, all said and done, tonight I'll do a live stream, okay? Most likely I'll touch on the PIMCO fund if my staff can get the deck up in time, okay? I hope to touch it around 10:30, 11 o'clock. Please do join me. Turn on your live stream alert by hitting subscribe and the notification bell, turn it to all, and I'll see you tonight, okay? Bye-bye.